Hey everyone, we're back. We're going to do a little Halloween spectacular this month, getting ready for Halloween. So what we're going to do is, this is kind of like a rework of a project that I worked on quite a while ago. And you'll kind of get an idea of what this project was based on once you start seeing this tutorial and stuff. This is going to be like, you know, the stripped down version, kind of make it easier for those beginners kind of stepping up and leveling into Fusion. This is going to be the first of 3 videos focusing on this Halloween rework of this project. In video 1, we're going to start on tracking of the scene. We're going to do some simple roto work, the text creation, green screen keying of this walker zombie. Then we're going to composite these elements. The last thing in this first video is going to be the color correcting of those elements to kind of merge them all into the scene. So yeah, let's jump on into it. First off, let's take a look at the finished project. So obviously that's just a render on my timeline. We got the project right over here. One thing I'm going to do for everyone with this tutorial is provide a link below in the description there of all the media that I'm using in this, so you can just like 100% follow along, not have to come up with your own stuff. Thought that would be a little useful for you. Hopefully it is. Leave a comment down below too and let me know what you guys are thinking about something like that. All right, so the first thing we need to do is go ahead and drag down some footage down on here. Let's get to about 20 or so. You know, you've got like a brand new project, so go ahead and just pop this at the beginning of your project. I'm going to do a little split screen here. This is the shot right here. So we're going to go ahead and find, or right about here, mark in. I'm just pressing I and then an out, drag down the timeline. We're going to make this about 6 seconds long, something like that. So we'll just bring this on down. I'm pressing E to snap that on in. Right click and new Fusion clip. I'm going to name this Toot version 1. There we go. I'm going to pop that into my timelines there, keeping things nice and neat and orderly. Right click, open in Fusion. First thing we need is a tracker. So spacebar, shift spacebar, start typing tracker, and then I'll pop that on up. And there we go. So let's go ahead and just take a look at our shot here. What can we track here? We can track some elements on this foreground element, but it goes out of the shot. So let's not do that. You know, I see a lot of little dots and stuff in the area here. I'm going to be placing some text right around in here. So it'd be nice to find a dot right there, but I don't see one. So I'm going to find this one right here. I kind of like that dot right there. So let's go ahead and grab our tracker. Center it up on there. We're just going to leave everything at presets there. It's fine. And then go ahead and hit the track forward from current time. There we go. Tracks super fast. The tracker in Resolve is actually pretty solid tracker comparative to Avid products and Flame and stuff. I'm actually quite happy with the tracking in here. Planar tracker is nice. The single point tracker. You can also add in multiple points and stuff. We'll do that in the next scene of this project. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that roto work. So I'm going to bring in a spline, connect it on into the back of the tracker. I'm going to press 1 on the tracker just so I can see the shot. There we go. Let's kind of give a little bit more real estate. We're going to zoom in on this so you guys can see a little bit better. We're going to zoom down on this, zoom down. I'm going to select my polygon, and then that gives me the option to actually start drawing it in. So I'm just going to draw, how about point there, point there, point, 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 point. So what we're doing is we're just masking this guy on out, this area here. So we have that. We're going to comp in some text, some boxes. We're going to have a zombie back here and stuff. So we just need to basically get this guy to be more in the foreground. It's pretty simple idea. So I make that at the very beginning of my shot, and I go to the end where it goes off screen. Then I'm just going to zoom out, select those tracking points. I'm going to hold down Shift so it locks them in place, and just slide that on over. There we go. And then just start going along here and making sure it's not drifting. So this just automatically starts updating keyframes as you place them. Just going every couple keyframes and just kind of readjusting the splines. And there we go. So we just kind of track that in. I'm going to do Command F to full screen this. You can kind of see it kind of drifts while you're kind of scrubbing, but if you just leave it alone, then it kind of updates and you can see that it's actually locked in pretty decently. One thing I want to point out is like sometimes when you're adding points, like just grabbing a point, it'll add another point. So if you don't want that, I'll just, Control Z that. Okay, so that's pretty good. One thing I would do is just kind of soften this edge. If we kind of look at our edge of this pillar, it's not 100% hard. So we're just going to soften it to kind of match up with that a little bit better. Roto work is, if you want to get like a good tight roto, it takes a little bit of time. It's just kind of the sign of the beast. Next thing we're going to do is just kind of create in some text. Let's just kind of squeeze this on back. Slide these guys on down. Drag some text on down here. So what do we call this? The shifter. Something like that. I'm just going to leave it at this font. Go ahead and be crazy and stuff and find some cool font. So let's go ahead and pick a color for this. We are just going to pick some complementary color that's in our scene here, but something that's a little bit brighter. And we'll jump on into this and just kind of brighten this on up. Something like that. That'll look good. Let's kind of relatively just kind of place this in our shot. Actually, I kind of like the idea of stacking that and then putting that over there. Checking the line spacing there. I think that's too big. We'll do something like this. This one's going to be a little bit different than the one that we made because we're actually building it. Okay, there's our text creation. Let's go ahead and do that green screen element. So, since we made this a little fusion comp, we're going to open this in a timeline. We are going to find our zombie. There he is. Let's mark in, mark out, drag him on down. Let's make sure he's the same length. We'll go ahead and close that. We'll jump on into our fusion comp, and then we're going to do spacebar and media in. And there's our zombie. We don't need him merged in right there, though. So let's go ahead and key him on out. So we're going to do a delta key here. I'm going to preview that. So I'm just pressing 1 to preview my key here. I'm going to pick the green screen. There it is. I'm going to do some finessing here. Do we need any pre-blur or anything? Is that kind of helping? Yeah, that's not helping. Gain. Yeah, a little bit of gain. That kind of helps pull that key a little bit in. Yeah, we're going to do some color correction on him later on to really kind of get him to pull on in. Let's kind of zoom on in and just make sure that key is good. So we're not losing any detail, especially in the fingers. See the movement there? We don't want to lose any detail in those fingers. That's usually where you're going to kind of lose detail. But since this is a CG element, the key is going to be spot on. Okay, so there's our green screen element. You can support me today by listening to my music via the links below. Become a sponsor today. Message me via the Facebook link below to find out more. Let's go ahead and start comping some stuff in. Let's put him on into the tracker so he's actually tracked in. So the tracker is not picking him up, so we need to go to Operations and Match Move. There we go. We're going to throw a DVE on him. And we want him to be behind the CG, so that's kind of why I have this positioned right there. If we want him in front of the CG, then we would pop him down here, in the flow graph there. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of rough him on in. We'll just kind of pop him on back here. There we go, something like that. That'd be cool. If we really want to sell him, we would actually kind of pop him over here a little bit more. Okay, so we got him kind of comped on in. Let's do some more comp work here. We are going to grab this. I'm going to zoom out just a skosh so I have a little bit more real estate here. Move that on over. I'm going to do Shift Spacebar and bring up a loader. So I got two different crates here. So we'll grab this one. We're going to do a Control C, Control V. We're going to grab this one. We're going to one that. Okay, yep, those are them. Okay, so let's go ahead and comp this on into here with that zombie. Pop a transform on him. Let's go down here. Okay, one thing we're kind of lacking here is this needs to be comped on into here also. So it's tracked in and it's getting cut out also. Here we go. So that's looking good. Let's go ahead and place this box into our shot here. Pop him down here-ish. We'll kind of copy that, paste it onto here. We'll throw him on in line with this. So he's there with the text. Scrub on down here. There we go. We're going to kind of sell him into the scene a little bit more. Put him kind of behind the text here. Maybe even increase the size a little bit. There we go. And then let's do another one. How about we'll copy this, paste it down here. We're going to actually want him after the text. So we're comping that on into there. So we want it in front of the text. Do something like this, maybe. Oh, we'll keep the size about the same. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's comping in the 2D elements and just kind of getting like a little bit of comp into there. Just kind of sell this shot a little bit better that everything's actually in there. Now, you know, what we would do is go ahead and color correct this zombie to be more in the scene, those boxes to be more in the scene. You know, maybe even adjust that that CG a little bit more. So we're just going to shift on down here, pop a color corrector onto our zombie. Let's just kind of zoom in on him. He's obviously a little bit red and orange. So now we're going to kind of shift him on over to be more of this greenish hue. So let's go ahead and pop him on into the greens. Probably not that much, but we're going to kind of futz this. We're going to bring his saturation down a skosh. There we go. That's blending in nicely. Contrast. So we need to see how it's affecting the whole thing. We're going to go on into options and do the pre-divide just so it's no longer affecting everything. Kind of just a little bit of contrast. The gain. Now this is kind of like where, like, how much do you want him to be standing out? Like, is he going to be basically acting as if he's got a light on him back there, or is he blending into the background more? You know, you kind of want to just kind of make those determinations while you're comping stuff in. These boxes, we're going to pop a color corrector onto him, and then we want to basically do the same thing. So this has also got some red in it into the scene, so we want to shift it on over to the greens just a little bit. To sell it, we're kind of going to drop back its saturation a little bit, bring up its contrast, bring down the gain, the brightness. What is that doing for us? Well, it's pointing out that we don't have the pre-multiply on, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Something like that. So now we can just copy this, paste it onto those crates, paste it onto here and just see what that looks like. Maybe it'll be good enough. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a good starting point. So let's bring the contrast on up. Bring our brightness down. Yeah, I kind of like that comping in. So that looks good. Another thing to kind of comp in this zombie a little bit more is notice how back here the lens is blurring stuff out. I'll bring up just the shot. So if we kind of look at this shot just raw, the lens is not, you know, everything's not crisp and stuff. It's pretty close, but it is a little blurred out. So we need to kind of match that blur with our zombie. So we're just going to put like a 2 blur on him, something like that. Just to kind of comp him on in a little bit better. Make that match up a little bit better. So it looks nicer. Yeah, I think this is looking better than the example. It's great. So that's what we got for this part. We went over a lot of stuff here. Let's just kind of like rewrap our minds around things. So when you're comping stuff in, you want to bring the elements in, key them out, whatever you need to do. And then one of the tricks, obviously, it's not rocket science, is to color correct things into the scene so they don't stick out like a sore thumb. Just matching color balances. Later on, we're going to be doing the eye candy and the dev look on this, and that's going to actually merge in all these elements even better. So right now, they're not like 100% dialed in, but we'll do that later on down the timeline. So watching this play back, this thing is drifting. It's drifting something fierce. So that tracking point that we did was actually too far back in the Z plane. So we're going to go ahead and track to this point up here. Let's just do that real quick. Let's go ahead and move the tracker dot to this point and retrack that on in. And that should lock in that CG and those boxes. So let's go ahead and jump back out. Let's just watch that real quick. Look at that. Locked in nicely now. So yeah, that's going to work a lot better. Just wanted to do a little quick update on this on that track there. That looked pretty nasty. So next Wednesday, I'll be releasing this next video, depending on when you actually come across this video. If you're watching it when the first dropped, then bam, wait another week and you'll get the next one focusing on grid warp, Walking Dead grunge layer trick. If you're familiar with the open, you'll pick up what I'm laying down on this next scene. Yeah, check it out.